What you're looking at is my purchases for engraving. Now, this is what I envisioned I wanted. Something that would fit in the hand. Now, you put it in the palm of your hand, you bring your fingers underneath. Now your fingers are right next to the blade, and you're talking control. Now, I don't have great handwriting, but I've done this type of work using like a file, or in the old days, I had a set of wood carving tools that were this size, a whole set, and I had to sell them off for food when I left New Jersey. So I've been looking for something like this. Now, you're going to say, that looks pretty cool. This is $80 right here. Comes with one blade. 80 frickin' dollars shipped to your door. Okay? This to me is worth 12 bucks at the most. Okay? Now, this is a carbide, some type of high carbide tip, some type, maybe something even stronger than carbide. There's $37. Bought one of them. This one's one number away from that one. I did a lot of reading, what kind I needed. And then I told you that this one here, the way they had this one, the picture taken, this was on the same pages as this. And they all did it. And here's the problem. Whenever you try to locate a tool, Amazon, eBay, they basically have everything tied up. So no matter what you're looking for, you keep ending up on their pages. Okay, it becomes very difficult to find anything unique. And every once in a while you'll bump into something, somebody in one of the conferences will mention a place, and that's how I found this. This is what I wanted. This is similar to what I had. All right, and even the things that I had, I can't find anymore. There's no interest, you know. And what this is for is like if you have a knob and you want to put an arrow on it. I used to use, like I said, I used to use a file. With this, you just grab it and you work your arrow on the knob. Also, this can cut a trace on a circuit board, one shot. Now, how we used to do it in TRWs, we had a little razor knives. I've shown you those razor knives. You make two cuts, and then you pick apart the piece between the two cuts. With this is all one shot, okay? And I was amazed at, you know, how many people sell this. This goes from anywhere from $6.95 to $39. Piece of junk. And it holds a different kind of engraving bits. But the websites are set up to sell what sells the most. So everything's going to have a steep learning curve. If you're going into something that you don't know nothing about, which I always admit, I love to go into a new area. I enjoy the learning curve because I like to read. And every page I went on had this and had this type of blade. On this blade here, which is also in here, is basically for an air-powered tool. Engravers don't basically use, well, there are guys that still use the old-fashioned hand method or manual. But there are a lot of little engravers that are now air-powered. Like everything else, everything moves forward. Then you get down to CNC engraving. Nobody actually does it by hand anymore. All things go the same way. After a while, nobody wants anything engraved anymore. You know, when I was a kid, you might give somebody a spoon for a certain wedding anniversary, and they have an engraving on it. And that's all gone. It's all gone. That's grandma's crap. That's younger people don't want grandma's crap. If you watch all the videos, all those old things that we bought years ago, nobody wants. Okay, and it's just going in so many. Life is going in so many directions at the same time, and the hardest part of finding anything that you want to buy is the fact that Amazon and eBay basically have the search engines tied up. All right, and you got to really dig. And if you don't know what you're looking for, you got to really dig harder, and maybe go around different groups and listen to the key words that they say. And then you go back and put the key words in. You'll still get eBay and Amazon, but after you go through them a few pages, you will start to find the companies that still are in business and will sell you something, a manual a manual graver. They don't call it an engraving tool. They call it a graver. $80 shipped to your door. And this is a piece of rubber. This is aluminum. And this rubber is stretched over a piece of plastic. So I don't know if this will last the test of time. Okay, you really don't need this being rubber, but it is rubberized. And probably the ones that last the longest are all aluminum or all steel. But that's how they're making it for 80 bucks. Now, you might be able to find this cheaper now. Now that I've shown you for 80, oh, I know where I can get that cheaper. Well, good for you. I dug too long. The amount of hours I dug just to find this tool, maybe use it once or twice in my lifetime, 80 bucks, okay? And I also want to say something about the disappearing objects phenomenon. All right, now, I have people that say to me they lose this, they lose that. And I understand what it could be. If you have a dog or a cat, it can move a shoe, a slipper on you. Like socks. You do a load of socks in the washing machine. And you bring it out, you go to the dryer, now you're missing the sock. I know where the sock is. Okay? It's in the leg of one of the pair of pants. I one day was standing there and I'm going, okay, the sock either went up in the machine, into the pump, and I'm going to have to take the machine apart. But before that, I know I put, say, 4 pairs of socks in the washing machine. I lay the socks out, and I know I'm missing one. So now I take the pants out, and they're in the dryer, and I stick my hand down each leg of the pants. And one of the leg of the pants, guess what's there? Sock. That's how I am. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be the person that tells the story about the missing socks. You know, that's one of those running stories that women tell each other. I stand there and I'm like, no, this isn't going to happen to me. I know that sock is either in the legs of those pants, or it's up in the pump of the washing machine, or somewhere in the dryer, and I stay with it. Also, reality. I told you this guy, Mike Whalen, used to say, the eyes look, but the eyes don't see. Now, when you walk outside in your backyard and you look at all the trees and the birds and maybe your dog running around or a cat or your children, you're really not seeing it all. You're seeing what your brain wants you to see. So if something is missing in that yard, like one of your kids' toys or that, a certain person, as soon as they walk out in the yard, they look and they say, where's little Billy's bicycle? Other people don't. They're not like that. They only know the bike's missing until little Billy says, hey, someone stole my bike. I understand this now. Everybody has a total different perception of reality. Now, when I was in grammar school, they would put 20 objects on the floor in the classroom. And a person would come up, and you had to look at the objects. And then you'd go outside, and they'd close the door, and they'd move the objects around and take one of the objects away. And you come back in through the door. You had to tell them what was missing. I could do that. Bing, bing, bing. 1, 1, 2, 3. Other people, clueless, and even as stupid as when they come back in, they didn't know what the thing was called. Oh, God. It was a real eye-opener when I was a kid. I'm sitting there, and then they have me do it again, and then again, and they're like, you're really good at this. And I found something I'm really good at. See, as being like wanting to build stuff and design stuff, you see reality totally different. When you look at an assembly of gears and motors, when you have that mechanical ability, you see that unit for what it really is. You're looking at, okay, that gear over there, it's a reduction gear, or that gear there makes it go faster, or that's a worm gear there, and that assembly with that arm makes it reciprocating. That's how my brain works. Other people, they see that as just a hunk of junk. Okay? Now, when they lose stuff, they're frustrated. All right? Now, the reason they lose stuff is they're distracted while they're doing something. All right? They're doing something, they really don't want to do it. They got to get it done really fast, and then they misplace something. And then even when it's in front of them, they can't see it. Their reality is different. And I used to work with people, and I'd have to point their tools out to them. What are you doing? pliers. Where are the pliers? They're right there. Oh, they're right there. They actually don't see the pliers because what their brain can process is a limited amount of tools. And you're saying that's impossible. No, it's not impossible. Everybody sees colors differently. All right? Everybody hears words slightly differently. And then they repeat it back. And anyway, the whole system seems to work, but everybody's system of reality is slightly different. All right? And I'm reading these people that they leave me messages about things disappearing. See, I don't let it get me. I go sit down and relax, and I'm like, where did I have it last? You know, and I'm looking, and I'm like, a lot of times it falls down behind something. You place something on top of it, and once you get frustrated, your reality changes again. Okay? And like I said, a couple times over the years, I would go looking for something, and I would be looking for the old tool when really I had replaced it with a new one. And I sit there and go, wait a minute, I don't have that tool anymore. But when you get frustrated, you don't think straight. Okay? But I want to tell you, basically, there is no magic in the world. Okay? Well, I had this, my couch keeps disappearing. I don't know what's going on in your household. I don't know. I don't know you. You tell me, oh, I had a dresser disappear. I don't know you. You know, I don't know if you're sitting in a mental patient home in front of a computer telling me this stuff. I don't know you. I don't know if there's other people in your household that would take that couch or whatever's missing and sell it on you. I don't know that. All I know is there is no magic. You know, people believe in ghosts and all that. Yeah, okay. I've gone through that crap, and I stood there, and I've reasoned it out. And I tell you, a few times, boy, I was like, holy shit. And then I found it. And then the person's like, oh, that's all it is. They wanted it to be amazing. Like I told you, it was a dairy at the corner of my house. And in the window, they had a coffee maker there. And it had those glass urns. No, not urns. It's a glass coffee pot. And it has writing on it. And part of the year, for a few minutes, the sun gets in a certain position. It came in through the window. It hit that glass coffee pot, which was like a lens, and it projected the instructions and safety instructions up on the wall, like it's Sanskrit. And when you looked at it, it looked like Sanskrit. It looked like a message from God because it was a bunch of languages on that coffee pot, maybe Spanish and English, warning you about leaving it on without water in it or what. It was just, well, anyway, I see that, and it looks like it's getting there. The girl's pointing at it, and it's starting to fade away, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I have to explain this. So what I was lucky enough to do was I went over and I put my hand up against the wall, and now the lettering is on my hand, and then I moved the hand towards the source. And then it was clearly that it was the pot, the glass pot for the coffee. And I don't even think they make them like that anymore. But anyway, I went right up to that thing. And then as the light was fading, because the sun is moving now in the sky, and it's coming through a window. It only has a certain angle. I moved the coffee pot around and make the letters on the wall move as they're fading out, because now the sun is in a different position. I told you the other story about the guy disappearing, a flash of lightning, and we're sitting on our sleds in a snowstorm, and we're watching this guy come towards us. There's a flash of heat lightning. It's not regular lightning, heat lightning during a snowstorm, and then the guy disappears. And the next night I went up there, and I sat there. I knew that guy walked his dog every night, and I'm gonna figure this out. And one of the guys wouldn't go. He's like freaking out. That guy just disappeared. Yeah, that guy just disappeared. If you don't know the trick or you don't stand. So I went there, and I'm sitting there, and here he comes. He's walking back with the dog, and all of a sudden he just goes through a fence. Through a fence. Okay, that's even wackier. One friend says, "Did you see that?" I said, "Yeah." He says, him and the dog jumped through the fence, right through a big, tall wooden fence. I said, "I'm going up there." So I go up there, and there's planks missing in the fence, or pickets. And okay, so that now I know he stepped, and he had to step over the bottom rail for the pickets. So the next night I went up, I talked to him. He goes, yeah, he says during the bad weather, when he walks the dog, he takes the dog to the fence where he took the pickets out. He goes down through an outside door into the cellar, and this is so he doesn't, the dog doesn't drag the snow into the house. That's all it was. But to the first guy, that guy disappeared. Oh, and the heat lighting too, that's all that was. But the timing. And other people, it has to be this. And with me, I'm like, how the hell did that happen? I'm curious. I want to know how it happened, because maybe you want to do that again. It's pretty cool. And that's basically how magic is. You get distracted for a half a second or so, and now the trick is done. The man has disappeared. But yeah, I just want to put those two subjects together. You know, I know my videos get these 50 views. Okay? Yeah, I understand it. They're not cat videos. I look at cat video. Oh, cat meows funny. 50 freaking million views. The cat meows funny. Okay? Now, some of this is trickery. They get people to click on the video. Maybe they post it on social media. But in any way, they get 50 million views. I pour my heart out on stuff. I work on really hard projects, and I get 50 views. Okay? It's just the way it is. Okay? Now, that guy Scotty, rev up your engines. He says people want to be entertained. They don't want to be educated. He stands there. He looks at the camera, and he's got a lot of followers. He says, people don't want to be educated. They want to be entertained. So if you see the way he does his videos, he makes them entertaining. At the same time, he tells you what to watch out for. And he tells you about people threatening him because he's telling you the truth. And that's the way it's really working. But, you know, $80, you know, I bought myself something. But I had a set of these things made a little differently, with carving points on the end, and I used it for the stagecoach. And then when I had to leave New Jersey, I had to sell a lot of really good stuff, real cheap, just to get money for food. Because the realtor said, you know, selling your house, you're going to get the money when you sell it, but what are you going to do from then until now, or now until then? And I said to her, I'll sell my tools. And she's looking at me, well, how many tools do you have? I said, a lot. I said, I know where they all are. They're all in really good shape. And every morning I would post stuff on Craigslist. And 1 o'clock in the afternoon, when I come back from my walk, guys would show up, and they would look. I had a big 4x8 table out in the middle of the rec room in the cellar. And guys would come down, and they look at the stuff and make me offers, and I would sell the stuff. And I had money for food. And one guy was really nice. He was a Hindu. He told me what he went through. He sold lenses and frames, and for years. And he started getting older, and all of a sudden the discount places started, and he got basically, his rent went up a lot. Nobody was buying his lenses and frames anymore, and he had customers, but not enough to support the store. So then he was telling me about the dumpster, and I've heard this story before. When you close a store down, you have to get dumpsters to throw the stuff in that nobody wants. At that time, there were so many stores closing down that nobody wanted the fixtures anymore. Now, across the street from my friend's hardware store, there was a place that was selling filing cabinets and all that. For a while, there was a market for that. As big companies were closing down, and their chairs and all, people were buying it for their home offices. But then that started to die. Well, anyway, this guy had this frame and lens place, and he had to close it down. And then he said it took like so many dumpsters at $1,000 each. In the town he was in, there was a permit. The dumpster could only sit in front of the store for so many hours or whatever it was. He said he spent so much money just going out of business. And then he bought several big items for me. I remember I gave him a really good price on a workmate, the real big workmate, the real expensive one. I gave it to him real cheap. And I helped him carry it out to the car. And he told me, he says, just hang in there. He says, you're doing the right thing selling and getting out. He says, you can't find a job in electronics now at your age. He told me, he's right, you're not going to find a job at your age in electronics. you might find something else. And I told him about working at the food store. I won't even say the name of it. He says they're going to cheat you. They want it done cheaper and cheaper every year. So if you do get going again, eventually it's going to catch you again, and you'll be older and it'll be even more difficult. But he really told me the way it was, and he says I was able to retire, and he says I have to wait another year for my wife to retire. And he says while I'm doing that, he says I'm gathering these things for my hobby. He was into just puttering around, but he was really happy with the Workmate. I said this is the top of the line. I believe it's Black & Decker Workmate, and it went 2 different heights too. It was really, and it was heavy as hell. And I had a couple Workmates, and I sold them off. And the one guy thought I was going to sell him the real expensive Workmate for the price of the one I sold him the bottom end. And I had people that were coming back every day, and they would work on me trying to get something cheaper. And they never used the stuff. The one guy's name was Jimmy, and Jimmy never built anything. He was just collecting stuff so he could say, I got this at a really good price. I got it at a really good price. And then there was the other guy. He had a van with all these metal drawers, and some of the drawers would open up when he would make turns in the van. And he opened the drawers. I went out there talking to him. I'm walking out to the van. He wanted to show me. He's all excited. And he's opening all these drawers, and he's got micrometers in there and calipers and feeler gauges. And I said, what's it? He doesn't know how to use anything. He says, I look at these tools, and I know they're really high quality. And they're brown and sharp. They were made like right after World War II, maybe some really incredible engravings on them with the numbers. And they were beautiful tools. And the guy says, I don't know how to use them. I'm never going to know how to use them. He says, I just like looking at them. And he bought a bunch of micrometers from me. I had all different sizes in a wooden case. And my father had ground them in spots in order so they would fit in on certain jobs at work. And once you grind a grind mark into a tool, most people don't want it. So this guy gave me a real good amount. He says that grind mark in there. Oh, my father also had his name on the tools. A woman at the front office. I told you that story once before. She did the engraving, and it didn't bother him. He goes, this is they were Starretts. It was a complete set of Starrett micrometers up to 1 foot. Well, anyway, yeah. My father was a tool maker at Resistaflex, but anyway, this guy was happy to have those the way they were. And off they went. I got some money for them, knowing I'm never going to use a micrometer. I have micrometers, but I knew those would never get used. But I just wanted different things, and I did use the editor on that last video. I edited several sections together. I learned to use the pause. I also found out if you put the video through the video editor, it compresses it, so it makes it smaller. So I won't use as many megabytes or gigabytes on my internet service. See, I only get 100 gigabytes a month for $66, and a lot of my videos, when they're long, they take, when I upload it, it really sucks down my bytes available, or megabytes or gigabytes available. But I just wanted to show you this engraver tool, and I know this is going to outlast me, but if I was younger, I would want this not to be rubberized, stretched over a piece of plastic, because eventually this rubber is going to get sticky, maybe, but it'll last my lifetime. But this is what I envisioned, and then I bought this because Amazon keeps showing you this, and this bit does not go with this engraver, but they're on the same pages. You'll go, if you go look, you'll see, and you might have better luck than me. But I kept ending up on either Amazon or eBay, and I stayed with it. And found out that this is a manual graver. They don't call it an engraving tool, manual graver. Okay, and this will hold the air tools, the air tool bits, and that's what I wanted. That's the bit I want in there. Okay, and I'll probably never sharpen this. I don't ever want to sharpen it. And there is a little piece of rubber around here. Here it is. It didn't disappear on me because I put it in the same place I expected. And then there you go. It'll probably sit there on my bench. I'll probably use it maybe once. I think that's it. All right, that's it.